All right, so testing the stream. Oh, there you go. Okay, so I guess I'm live. So you guys can see me? Cool, Tom. So how many of you are here? Let me check. So how's the sound? Is the sound okay? What about the visuals? Let me know in the chat. I'm still testing my feed. It's my first live stream, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Hey Mike, how's it going? All right, so I think it looks like everything is good from what I can see anyways. So how are you guys doing? Sounds a bit hollow. Let me check something here. Is that better, Tom? How's the sound now? You're getting a lot of echo. That's kind of weird. Let me check something out here. All right. Is there still some echo? By the meantime, let me know where you guys are from. I'm just curious. Hey Axel, how are you? Nice to see you here on the chat. Now it's good. Perfect. Yeah, so I guess we're good now. So yeah, welcome to my first live stream. So yeah, I wanted to do this for quite a while, you know, so I just didn't have the time or the courage maybe. But now I'm here. So now I'm not going to be here for a long time. Probably like 10-15 minutes max for this one, but I'm going to try to come maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks to chat with you guys. So Andrew from England. We have RealRiven from Ireland. Pennsylvania. Cool. St. Louis. Awesome. Manchester, UK. Germany. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's nice. Yeah, so I the other day just to send you guys a message about me starting a live stream, and so if you have any questions or so, you know, leave that in the chat. I know that one of you asked me about yeah, it was about how to get better in a recording for a live musician. You know, when a live musician is good live, but when it gets to recording, it's something else. It is a bit more harder to get in the studio and perform well. So that was the question was about performance and how to increase your performance skills in the studio compared to the live to a live situation. Let me check if I have a few questions here. Belgium, awesome. So cool, 18 people watching. That's pretty good for a first stream. I'm not complaining. Cool, so yeah, so talking about live performances in the studio. It is, to be honest with you, it is very different than what we have live on a live situation. You know, playing live is I'm not going to say it's easier, but it is different because you can get away with a lot of things compared to the studio. The studio is like everything is stripped down. You hear a lot of mistakes if you make some. Like for me as a drummer, the way, you know, my first studio experience, when I go back like 18 years ago, I was playing in a band. We were touring back then. That was back in '98. and we had a chance to sign a publishing deal, and we had management in Nashville, and I'm from Montreal, so we at some point we had to go down to Nashville to record an EP, a 4-song, but actually it was a 3-song demo. So back then we recorded demos to try to shop for a record deal, and so that was our case. We had a chance to go down there. Everything was paid for, so we were quite lucky, to be honest with you. And yeah, so I started my recording session in that studio in Nashville. I forgot the name of the studio, but it was quite nice. And now it was my first experience recording in a studio, and it wasn't my best experience to start with. So at some point, you know, it was good, but not good enough. So like as a drummer, the minute you're just not as tight, it shows right away. And it's the same for a singer. The minute you're a bit off, you're going to hear it right away when you're listening to your playback. So that happened to me. So we're listening to the track, you know, the drum tracks, and I was like, yeah, it's good, but it's not good enough. So in the end, you know, for this 3-song demo, we had to call a session drummer, unfortunately. But on the other hand, it was a learning experience for me. So from that point on, I told myself, you know, that was the first time, it was my first studio experience as a drummer. So I said, you know, that's never going to happen again. So next time I'm going to be in the studio, I'm going to cut my tracks and make sure they're freaking good. So I just started to practice with the click, recording myself at home, only with one microphone, just to hear myself, listen to what I'm doing wrong, and try to fix that up, you know, for my next session. And from that point on, afterwards, I started my studio, I started to produce music, and I ended up playing drums on like maybe 70 albums after that. So my point is, practice, practice, practice. If you want to get better in the studio compared to live, I would say practice the hell off, you know, practice with a click, practice if you're a singer, you know, listen, record yourself, listen to yourself, listen to the pitch, listen to the feeling, listen to, you know, everything counts in the recording situation, okay? Everything, you can hear everything. Even if you're dead on pitch, but you don't have any feeling, you're going to hear it right away. So that's my tip, you know, practice, practice, and practice, and record yourself, listen to yourself, and the more you're going to do it, the better you'll get. Now let me check what I have here. Bonjour de France. Okay, we have a French guy here. That's cool. Let me check here. How do I like the creme? The creme is pretty amazing, to be honest. I really enjoyed working with the creme. The creme is that, you don't see it here, but it's my, it's from Tegler audio manufacturer. It's a compressor. It's a stereo bus compressor. It's the kind of a SSL type of compressor, and it has like a 1-strip EQ, which is only a boost EQ, a bit like a Paultec EQ type of thing. And yeah, I really, really like it. It's like since I got it, I never stopped working with it. You know, I put it on my mix bus especially, and when I do some mastering, it's my main compressor on my channel. Let me look what else I have here. Hey, Chris. Chris Lee is here. Nice to see you, man. Cool. Yeah, I heard that the audio is like a mirror. It is. It is. Yeah, it's like a. I always tell the artists when they're in the studio for the first time, it's like if you're naked. You know, you're gonna see everything. So it's funny because when, especially with singers, when they come in recording for the first time here in the studio, and they hear themselves for the first time, they're always in shock. It's like, is that me? It's like, yeah, that's you. And yeah, sometimes it's a nice surprise, but some other times it's like, oh, okay, I thought it was going to be easier. So it is a challenge for someone that is not used to record in the studio, that comes in for the first time to do a recording. Okay, RealRiven is asking, do you use subwoofer a sub to hear low end? Yeah, I have a sub. It's not set up very high, but it's just to cover the low frequencies. But I don't like to have my sub very loud in my room. I don't need it anyways, but it's just to cover the low end. But yes, I use one. And I on my main speakers I have a crossover at 80, and so this is how I'm set up. When I read the specs of my speakers, I was devastated. Can we mix low end visually? I would say use headphones at this point. If you have a good pair of headphones, you're gonna hear the low end pretty well. So I would go with the headphones. You can do it visually, but you know, you're not hearing the signal, so what's the use? What else do I have here? Yeah, you can hear the resonance in your head cavities for sure. Yeah, it's weird, you know, when you hear your voice for the first time, it's not a usually it's not a pleasant experience. Same for me. The first time I did some vlogs, you know, my first YouTube videos, hearing myself was quite hard. It's like, oh man, okay, do I really sound like that? But yeah, it always sounds better in our heads, you know. So yeah, so I don't know if you guys have any other questions, but I'm gonna have to go soon. But let me know if you want me to do that once in a while, like maybe every week or every 2 weeks. I would love to know if you want me to do so. And at the same time, oh, let me check here. How long do you take for a mix? Oh, now that depends on. Yeah, no name. This is live. Yes, it is. Okay, so to answer the question, how long does it take me to mix a song? It depends. You know, it's between, like for me, it's between 6 and 10 hours, depending on the song I'm mixing. I don't consider myself a fast mixer. Sometimes it goes pretty well. Some other times it depends on the song. Sometimes it can be longer than that. So I just make sure I'm satisfied before sending a mix to a client. But it takes me between 6 and 10 hours, I would say. I love questions, so go ahead. Yeah, thanks, Chris. It's yeah, it's good to be on. To be honest with you guys, I was a bit nervous, you know, just to get on live, and yeah, it's always a challenge for me, you know. So, just the fact, you know, that like I'll be quite honest with you guys. English is not my first language. I'm French Canadian, so it's always a challenge um, to express myself in English. So live, yeah, live is a bit of a challenge, and but it's good. Chris, when do you use a long reverb like a big plate? It depends. Something I like to do with a long plate. I love like the one from UAD, the 140. I like to add that on a vocal, but to be a bit subtle, I always add some filter. So I filter the top and the bottom end on my reverb. Sometimes I do it after the reverb, and most of the time I will do it before it hits the reverb. So I filter the signal that comes in the reverb, and then I add some pre-delay. And pre-delay, what that does, it will keep the vocal up front. So the initial signal is going to be up front, and it's going to add the reverb in the back, you know. So it kind of gives me a bit more of a subtle, long reverb-ish sound without being too noticeable, you know. So long reverb, I'm very careful when using them. So I'm going to tend to use them on ballads, slower song, than a fast song. But if I do, I will definitely use a pre-delay before using a big plate reverb. Now, what else do we have? Was wondering about the EQ and channel strip too. Now, are you talking about, I'm talking about to Hot Day 1. Are you talking about the Cubase channel strip? So let me know here what you're talking about. Or only plugins, general plugins? Because if it's general plugins, like the Cubase channel strip, I don't use it much. It happens that I will, but I usually use, if I use the channel strip, I tried the one from Brainworks. I forgot the name of the plugin. I think it's the Console G or something like that. I worked with it on a full album, inserting that as my first plugin in the chain on several channels in the mix, just to get that initial signal going through that type of Neve circuit, and did use like basic EQ on that channel strip and a bit of compression, and yeah, I quite liked it. I really liked working with the channel strip, but usually I'm going to use a separate EQ to do my my EQing. Okay, Tom says, oh, let me check here. Okay, I think I missed a few questions here. Let me go back and read what I have. So bear with me a second, guys. Okay, backspin. Yes, do this live thing more often. Perfect, I will. Okay, if I use mono overheads, what kind of microphone do you advise? Oh, when it comes to microphone, use whatever you have. If you have, if you have like several microphones in your arsenal, I would go with a larger diaphragm microphone, like the Mini K47, for example, and I would probably stay away from a smaller diaphragm microphone. But again, you know, everything can work. So, but I would go towards a larger diaphragm microphone. Are you on Steinberg Cubase beta program? No, I'm not. I never asked to be on anyways, just because of time. So it would be cool though. It would be cool to, I know that I will have a chance to try Cubase 10 before it gets out. I think I have a good contact at Yamaha here in Canada, so we'll see. Are you okay? Cubase. That was my question too. Are you using them? Okay, yeah, channel strip. Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't use the channel strip much, but it is a very, very cool tool. I'm actually working on a course, on a premium course, which is, I'm going to go through all, you know, everything about Cubase, the way I use it anyways. I've been working with Cubase for the past, since I started, for the past 15 years, since version SX2, I think. Yeah, that was the first license I bought. So I've been on Cubase for a while, and even before that, the band I was playing with, the lead singer had a home studio, and this is where we recorded our demos, and he was on Cubase VST back then. So that was my first introduction to Cubase. So that's why I just ended up on Cubase afterwards. Even if I went to production school and we were working on Pro Tools, it was easier for me just to buy a Cubase license. And I just, you know, I never got rid of Cubase from that point on. The EQ in is a bit cram. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of good stock plugins in Cubase. Tom is saying, I only use Cubase 9.5 Pro's stock plugins. If I'm not able to get what I want, I would not get with any fancy third-party plugins. They have very good stock plugins in Cubase. What's the name of that plugin? The multiband saturation plugin. I forgot the name. Please let me know in the chat room what's the name of that plugin. But it is very, very good. It's an amazing saturation plugin, but a multiband saturation plugin, which is quite impressive. Even frequency, the new EQ that came in the version 9, I think, is quite cool. It makes me think a bit of the Fab Filter Pro Q, which is the one I use the most. And yeah, it's a bit less fancy, but it does a lot of the same thing. Now, favorite stock plugin, mine is Multiband Envelope Shaper. That is a very good one too, RealRiven. But yeah, mine I would say it's the Multiband saturation plugin. If you have to choose one mic, oh, what is your pick? One mic. I would say maybe the Dellphos, this one right here. That would probably be my first pick. Reason is it is very versatile. You can record some electric guitars, acoustic guitars. Very good on vocals, even as a room overhead, as a room mic. It is a very good mic. So I would say if I only had one mic to choose, with a reasonable budget, I would go with this one. Now, if you ask me if I had like no limit on my budget, now that's a good question. I don't know. The thing is, it's surprising how good that mic sounds, even compared to big microphones like what's that mic? I've tried a Neumann once, actually twice. That was very good. It was the M149. Yeah, that one was quite impressive. That was like, it sounded like awesome on vocals, but it is like $5,000 or so. So too expensive for me. Okay, now you can totally control piano hammer. Cool. That's cool, RealRiven with the multiband transient shaper. Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do with that plugin for sure. It is a pretty cool plugin. It's surprising how, you get some very good stock plugins out of the AWs. Is everyone here on Cubase, or do we have someone on Studio One or Pro Tools or Logic? Let me know in the chat. Actually, Backspin, you're saying I'm updating. I'm just updated to 9.5. They better wait with 10 now. It usually comes out in the late fall, usually in November. Every November or December they come up with a new version. So they come up, like now they're probably going to go with version 10 because they have like a big update, and then they have like a 0.5 update the year after. But it's usually in the late fall. So Cubase Pro here. Cubase Pro 9.5, awesome. Do you use the arrangement track? Do you ever cut paste time to remove bars? I don't use the arrangement track. It's not something that I paid attention to much. I did play with it a bit, just to learn it and just to check how it works. But no, I never worked with the arrangement on the full production. So no. Now what else do we have? Okay, Cubase Element 9.5. So that's Andy. Yeah, it's a very good start. You have a lot of features with Cubase Elements. If you're new to studio recording, to the home studio, and that is your first DAW, it is a very good DAW to start. You can go a long way with Element 9.5. And you can also upgrade when you're going to be ready to upgrade to maybe the version artist. You can usually, like for a small fee, you can upgrade to a different version. And oh, Bavik is here. Paddle, that's cool. 9.52, cool. Let me check. My screen here is a bit weird. Let me check here. Uh, though I am a bloody amateur, it is better to have a Ferrari in your garage than going to work with a Golf. Okay, yeah, backspin. Sorry, I missed it. What is the mic you're talking about? I'm talking about the Dellphos, the Roswell Pro Audio Dellphos. If you check on my videos, you'll see a review that I did last fall about the Dellphos. Actually, you know, when I got it, that was back in August. Before doing my review, I had a chance to work with it in the studio for like a month and a half, and I was very impressed. Okay, so this is the mic I'm talking in right now. So it's the Dellphos from Roswell Pro Audio, and they have the Mini K47 that is way cheaper. So I think you can get one for $350 US or something like that. And again, it's a very versatile mic. You can record vocals, good on acoustic guitars, electric guitars, drums. I use them on drum overheads. I love them on overheads. So yeah. No Name is saying a Q2. Oh yeah, Voxengo has upgraded their Curve Q plugin. I was a Voxengo user. I used the Curve Q plugin for a long time. Oh no, the Curve Q. No, I was using the Gliss EQ. Yeah, the Curve Q is with Cubase, I think. Yeah, it's a stock plugin now. I think it's been included in Cubase 4 since version 8, I believe. I'm not sure. Okay, now you can resize the new version now. That's pretty cool. But you know, I never worked with the Curve Q plugin yet, though. I'm gonna have to give it a try. But I used to work one of my EQ go-to plugins, like if I go back 3-4 years ago, was the Gliss EQ from Voxengo. That was a very, very good EQ. Sony EQ Pro is great. It is pretty good. I agree with that. It is a very good. I don't use it much, but I started on my last production to use it, and yeah, it is indeed very good. Do you use Audio Warp? I do. I do when I need to. But for years I didn't. But I started to use it maybe since, I would say, last year, when I got into some type of problems to solve, and Audio Warp was very, very useful. But I'm a big user of Vari Audio for pitch correcting. Groove Agent. Do you use Groove Agent much? You know what? No, I don't. I use Battery 4 from Native Instruments, but I started to get into Groove Agent lately, and it is pretty powerful, I have to say. Now, the reason why I use a lot of I use Battery is I'm a big fan of the sample company called That Sound. If you go on ilovethatsound.com, I think they produce these amazing sounded samples, real drum samples, and they have like presets for Battery. So that's why I use Battery, because I'm a big fan of these drum samples. And but yeah, I started to play around with Groove Agent, and yeah, it is honestly very, very well done. And I think the more I'm going to go, the more I'm going to work with Groove Agent for sure. Yeah, you too, RealRiven. Pitch correction in Cubase is world class. It is. It is. I used to work with Melodyne. It's not as advanced, to be honest, as Melodyne is. But, you know, to be honest with you, I'd rather have a more limited version for pitch correction, because it's not something I aim to work with every time I do some recording. My goal is not to work with the pitch correction software. Okay, it's to get it right at the source, or just to polish the vocal take with Vari Audio. But when it comes to do like major correction and stuff, I'd rather just have the singer redo the take. So I always try to get as close as possible to a good take. Uh, so that's why I don't need like a large, big version of a software like Melodyne to work pitch correction. The one in Cubase does the job very, very well, and I'm happy with it. And just the fact that you have access to Very Audio on every audio track very quickly without loading a plugin, it's very useful. I like that. Yeah, super. Yeah, for building tight backing vocals. Yeah, definitely. You can do like even like you can be creative with Very Audio and do some nice vocal arrangements for sure. I started using Greg Wells plugins. I didn't use the voice centric, and no, I didn't use these plugins yet. So they're good, Andy. Happy to hear that. They make good plugins. Waves. I don't like all of Waves plugins, but yeah, I bought like a few like specific Wave plugins that I usually use. So okay, RealRiven at no name. It's a fab filter plugin. Yeah. Okay, so Matt Music Vids. I use Groove Agent for a drag and drop sample editor. Yeah, that is very practical. It is. What else? Yes, but I'm a beginner. Cool. You're just a beginner. I love that. I love having, you know, knowing that a lot of people are getting into music production like that. It's pretty cool. It's way more accessible than when I started. So good for you. It's a good time to produce music. I'm telling you. Everything is cheaper. Everything is accessible. You can produce out of your living room, even in your car if you want to. You just need a laptop and a good DAW, and you're good to go. Now, what else do I have here? Which tracks most? Okay, which track most be mono and which in stereo? In case all are from VSTs. Okay, now you're talking about, if I understand correctly, you're talking about VST Instruments. Which one should you use in mono and which one in stereo? I usually use a stereo VST Instruments. Usually most of them are going to come in stereo anyways. So I use whatever in whatever format they come in. And usually VST Instrument is going to be in stereo. Now, if I want to keep it in stereo, that's something else. Sometimes I just play with the panner, just to reduce the width, especially on a synth. Because if you're playing with a lot of synths in a production, you get a bunch of them, and all of them are just pan left and right. It could be messy. So there's a way in Cubase you can just play with the panning. And I'm going to do a video shortly on that, on panning in Cubase. And that small technique here is very useful when you have a lot of synths, a lot of VSTs to work with on a mix. Now, let's check what else we have. And okay, I'm going to go in about 2-3 minutes. Are you planning on doing some streams with review of our mixes? I don't know about that, though. I'm not very, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. It's something I have a hard time with, just to, I'm good on doing mix critiques on a one-on-one situation. But as far as doing that live on YouTube, I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it. I'll get back to you on that. Now, RealRiven, you're on fire, bro. How do you select reference tracks? I usually have my go-to tracks, and sometimes it depends on what the artist I work with listens to or gives me as a reference. So sometimes I will use their reference tracks to get to the tone they want. But I will have some of mine as well that I use on a regular basis. And yeah, just to keep me on track, just to give me an idea on, especially on tone-wise, that I use them. I don't go too crazy about them with working with reference tracks, but they're part of my workflow for sure. And but yeah, I do ask clients to provide me with reference tracks. Sometimes a reference track is good when doing some music arrangements. You know, when I start working with an artist, and usually I ask for a stripped down version of their songs. Okay, guitar vocals, piano vocals. So most of the time I get like that stripped version. So from that point on, you can go on a lot of different directions. So that's why it's important for me to ask them, take the time to ask them what they want. So I often ask them just to send me some reference tracks, some ideas they have for the type of sonorities they're looking for, and that helps a lot. So, but you need to be careful when you ask for reference tracks from a client. You need to figure out what they like about that reference track. Okay, so you need to ask a lot of questions, because sometimes they're not going to listen to the same way you are going to listen to the track. Okay, so really important to ask questions to the client if you're working with clients. So yeah, that's a quick question I have for you guys. How many of you work with clients when it comes to music recording or music arrangement or composition? And how many of you are artists and that compose their own music and record their own, produce their own music? Let me know in the chat, please. Just got to keep you busy, Chris, so you don't go away. Yeah, I've been saying I have to go for the past 15 minutes. Francis Roussel, French question. Quel bon stéréo compresseur conseilles-tu aux alentours de 500 $ canadiens? Now, are you talking about a outboard compressor or a, probably is, it's probably talking about an outboard compressor, or are you talking about a plugin? You know what? That's a good question. As far as plugin goes, if you're looking for, if I were to choose for only one plugin compressor, yeah, always will start with my stock plugin compressor. But if I want to go a step above, I would go with the FabFilter Pro C. Yeah, which is the most versatile compressor I've worked with as far as the plugin goes. Now, as far as outboard gear goes, for 500, I don't know what to answer on that. You know, I'm sorry, Francis. Juste confirme-moi, Francis, que tu parles d'un compresseur analogue ou d'un plugin. But yeah. Okay, outboard. Okay, good. Yeah, so, you know, I didn't grow up on analog gear much. You know, I started my production career directly in the box. So I have like a couple of gear here. I have the Crème, that very good compressor. It's not $500 though. It's a bit more expensive than that. And I have the Drummer 1960. Now the Drummer it's a stereo compressor and preamp, which is a very good sounded unit. And what I did back then, because this is the first unit I bought like when I started, and I was especially looking for that brand of that model, okay, because I remember the band I played with, when we recorded back in the days, in that studio, the studio where we were recording at had that unit, and I said, oh, that unit sounds good, so that's why I bought it. But I found it on eBay, and this is something you can do. You can go on reverb.com or shop around on eBay and to check for some good compressors that you can get on for a cheap price. Or if you're in Canada, you can check Kijiji. All right, now when using Groove Agent as a drummer, do I have to high pass? It depends on the samples you work with. It's not something you need to do and that you have to do. It's something that if you feel that you hear that you need to do, you just do it. Yeah. Let me check what else I have. I like the plugins and instruments. Yeah, you can. Okay. Are you able to screen share on the live chat? Not yet. I'm looking forward to. Now I'm just using the YouTube system directly, but I'm gonna probably use a specific software to do my future live streams. I tried to, but you know, it was a bit messy. So, what's up? From Seattle. Cool. Good to see you from Seattle, man. Thanks, Chris. Please do this soon. Cheers from Sweden. That's pretty cool. Okay. Now let me. Okay, now that is for real, guys. Okay, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and I'm out. Okay. Quality still exists when price is long forgotten. Yeah, definitely. I find versatile plugin confusing. I find versatile plugins confusing. One trick ponies aren't easier to work with. Yeah, definitely. Merci mon chum, bienvenue mon ami. We have MRZ from Poland. That's cool. So we have a lot of people from Europe. Cubase rocks and Chris rocks too. Thank you very much, Hot Day. You rock, man. All right, guys. So one last question. Okay, Andy, who's watching the World Cup? You know, I should. I don't, but I should. Are you? I guess, you know, since we have a lot of European people here, probably a lot of you guys do watch the World Cup. Warren, you did 10 tips and said it's important to know your plug. It is important to know your plugins. That's the #1 rule, I would say. I agree with that 100%. That's why I say, you know, try to always learn the tools you have right now before you get and spend money on plugins. You know, with DAWs, all the stock plugins they have, including the DAW, they are like awesome plugins. Okay, and if you're not able to produce good mixes with stock plugins, chances are you're not going to be able to produce good mixes with premium plugins. Okay, so that's my take on plugins. Be the best with the tools you have, and then upgrade to premium plugins if you need to. Okay, if you have a reason to. Okay, if you can hear the difference. Okay, because it doesn't mean it's going to sound better if you don't know how it works. So yeah, but you can go far with stock plugins. Luke is cheers from the Czech Republic. That's so cool. Real jams. Thanks, Chris. Great live stream. Happy you like it. I'm kind of enjoying it myself. So thank you guys for being here. Okay, I have to say, man, it's pretty impressive. 26 watching for my first live stream. Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm very happy, guys. I will do this for sure. Maybe on a weekly basis. Now I'm gonna drive down to Nashville at the end of the week, and I'm probably gonna try to live stream at this point. I'm going to Summer NAMM in Nashville. I'm gonna be there for a week, and yeah, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm pretty sure, like I had last year. Last year was crazy. It was so cool. So just can't wait to drive. I'm gonna drive with my wife this time, so this is gonna be awesome. So let me check here. So yeah, I'll keep you posted, guys. Hey, do you know that I have a Instagram account as well? So if you go on Instagram, if you're on Instagram, check out my channel on Instagram. Okay, go on my account. It's MIXDOWN Online. You're gonna find me, and this is where I'm gonna probably live stream a lot from. Okay, on my trip to Nashville, I'm gonna try to use Instagram a lot. Okay, so Instagram at MIXDOWN Online, and come and say hi if I do a live stream. All right, so let me check. Could you please announce your live stream a little? I will. I will. It was only a testing live stream, so next time I'm gonna announce it like a few hours before, even the day before. Okay, I'm gonna send you guys a notification, maybe 24 hours prior to my live stream, so you guys can know when I live stream. And you know, if I'm disciplined enough, I could probably do that on the same day every week. And I think Mondays usually are good because this is the day I usually produce my my videos. So maybe Mondays can be good. So let me know. Let me know in the chat, you know, when you think is a good time for me to do a live stream. Even as far as the time is concerned. Okay. You don't want to miss a thing. That's so nice, man. That's so nice. But upload the streams to YouTube. Musicians have no time. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, Instagram, the thing is, it's when you do a live, it goes into the story on top, and it stays there for 24 hours. But something that is cool with Instagram, and this is something I'm probably going to try out, okay? When you do a live stream, someone watching can jump into the live stream. I can accept someone and have a live conversation with someone else, you know, and sharing the screen. So that could be a cool way of doing a Q&A. So maybe sometime I will try that out, and having you guys on Instagram and trying to do some, you know, taking a few questions, live questions in real time, you know, that could be cool. I saw actually Rick Beato last night doing so, and I was like, wow, this is cool. Yeah, if you guys don't know about Rick Beato, you should. Google him. He's awesome. Cool. So there you go, guys. You know what? Thank you a lot for watching. If you can like the live stream, that would be helpful. And I'm gonna try to keep it on. I was not that sure I was going to keep it on afterwards, but yeah, I think I will. So I'm just going to leave it on so you guys can watch it later on, or maybe someone else that missed it can watch it. So guys, thank you again. That was very, very nice for you to join me on the stream. And for the first live stream, I'm going to say thank you a lot. All right, guys, I will see you soon. And by the way, tomorrow I have a very cool vid coming up. Tomorrow it's an interview with Ian Shepherd, okay, talking about mastering, home mastering, which is pretty cool. We talked about loudness, how loud can you master your songs for online streaming platforms and stuff. So a lot of good stuff. We did that this morning. So it's going to be on tomorrow, my interview with Ian Shepherd. Okay. All right, guys. So talk to you soon. And thanks for watching again. You guys are great. You rock. Ciao.